Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Monday, March 4th. I'm Jonathan Ahl. Parts of the Midwest, including Missouri, lack reliable data on Hispanic maternal mortality rates. A new investigation shows that while an accurate count is challenging, it may also cause underserved populations to miss out on healthcare resources.
And I work with all the Latino moms, and they have kind of issues with the hospitals, like a black moms and like a black woman's.
You can hear that investigation from the Midwest newsroom coming up on The Gateway. Former President Donald Trump cruised to victory over the weekend in the Missouri Republican Party presidential primary caucus. Trump won every single delegate up for grabs and easily prevailed in every county in the state. The outcome wasn't surprising given that Trump won Missouri by landslides in 2016 and 2020. While some Republicans elsewhere have refused to rally behind Trump, Missouri political leaders like U.S. Senator Josh Hawley have backed him against President Joe Biden.
So I would say you stack up his record against Biden's record. I mean, I'd take Trump over Biden any day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Missouri Democrats will hold their presidential selection process on March 23rd. A law in Missouri prevents pregnant women from getting divorced. St. Louis Public Radio's Lucretia Wembley has more on a new bill that could change that.
A law in Missouri that's been around since the 70s states that a woman being pregnant is grounds for pausing the divorce process. But a new bill introduced earlier this year by Democratic State Rep. Ashley Awney would say pregnancy should not prevent the court from finalizing a divorce or legal separation. Women abused by their partner are often stuck in cruel situations due to the current law, according to Matthew Huffman from the State Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence.
If you are traumatizing your partner by continuing to cause reproductive sabotage and coercion and keep them pregnant, you could trap that individual in a marriage for years and years.
House Bill 2402 is still in committee. If passed, it will go into effect in August. I'm Lucretia Wembley, St. Louis Public Radio.
New initiatives from the St. Louis County Library and Tech STL aim to narrow the region's digital divide. County residents with a library card can take home a free portable Wi-Fi hotspot for up to 3 weeks. More than half of St. Louis and St. Louis County residents have inadequate access to the internet at home. Kristen Sorth is the director and CEO of the St. Louis County Library. She says more hotspots have been in demand for some time.
We've got to help people get online and live a full life. You know, you really need online access, and it's not okay that we have people that can't easily do those things.
Sorth says many older adults who do have access need help using it. Tech STL will offer internet literacy classes to 10,000 residents of the city or county. The initiative is part of a 3-year plan to help encourage digital literacy. A University of Missouri-led research team is getting millions more dollars to support the development of new ways to find and track salmonella in the chicken supply chain. St. Louis Public Radio's Eric Schmid reports the team expects to have commercially viable product in a handful of years.
The project, called SenseD, includes the development of new sensors to more quickly detect salmonella and a software system that uses that data and others to see where contamination might be in the chicken supply chain. The group will now receive up to $5 million from the National Science Foundation for the research. Co-principal investigator Kate Trout says part of the work also involves talking with potential business partners.
To make sure that this gets out into society in 3 years, once we've actually built our high-fidelity prototypes and have all of our pieces functioning together.
Trout says since the research in this case is producing both hardware and software, there are a handful of ways to bring the technology into the commercial space. I'm Eric Schmid, St. Louis Public Radio.
A pregnancy-related death is when a person dies during pregnancy or within a year after pregnancy due to complications. Some Midwestern states have maternal mortality rates higher than the national average. As Cassidy Arena reports for the Midwest Newsroom, the data on Hispanic women can be particularly challenging.
Sofia Piral moved to Missouri from Guatemala to study education policy. Her husband and their infant son came with her.
We were first-time parents, and I mean, it was a different culture, different food, different language. We didn't know exactly what to do or who to ask for help.
Throughout this big transition, Pidal suspected she might be struggling with assimilation or experiencing postpartum depression, a risk factor in pregnancy-related deaths.
I remember not having any resource, at all.
Noticing this need, Pidal started a support group for Latina moms in the area.
We barely have medical access, and we don't have psychological support. So I was like, okay, we can just talk. And that's going to help us release all the things that we're going through, help us, right? Because, that's not the perfect solution.
Data from Missouri's Pregnancy-Associated Mortality Review shows Hispanic women's death rates are higher than white women and lower than Black women. From 2017 to 2019, there were 23 Hispanic maternal deaths for every 100,000 live births. That may seem like a small number, but there's an asterisk next to that 23. Daniel Quay is a researcher for the annual report.
It's not quite met the threshold of being able to be a stable ratio. We don't want to erase these women's deaths, or so to speak. It's trying to honor the fact that this was still a person that died.
That asterisk also means the state may be miscounting Hispanic maternal mortality rates, and there are two reasons why. One, coroners often identify the race of someone who has died, and they don't always get it right. And two, people don't always disclose their ethnicity, especially in medical records. In Missouri, scientists with the Pregnancy-Associated Mortality Review say that larger studies over multiple years could help them capture a more accurate picture. But in the short term, Missouri's unreliable data is an unavoidable issue. That is, until the growing Hispanic population, which is currently at about 5% in the state, increases significantly. Still, even if the number of deaths rises in the state, there will be no red flag. Dr. Juanita Chin is with the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. She says a lot of agencies wouldn't even report the unreliable data. But there's the human side.
And people want to know how they're represented. And so they want to know, are they too being impacted by this public health crisis?
Without stable data for Hispanic maternal mortality rates, 15 counties in Missouri used little federal funding from a maternal and child health program called Title V to serve that population. Title V records show those counties hired a few bilingual service providers and translated some informational materials.
So the first activity is you got to find the person whose name tag it belongs to it.
You know what? I'm from Cuba.
Mayelin Escobar is training to be a doula at a class in St. Louis. She is the only Spanish speaker in the class, and one of her goals is to make sure Hispanic women feel seen by their healthcare providers.
And I work with all the Latino moms, and they have kind of issues with the hospitals, like a Black moms and like a Black woman's.
With or without data, Escobar hopes to help Hispanic moms who encounter healthcare inequities. With reporter Anna Speidel, I'm Cassidy Arena for the Midwest Newsroom.
The Midwest Newsroom is a collaboration of NPR and public radio stations in Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Jonathan Ahl, and from the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.